Yo, what up, homie? In this video, we are going to be going over how to create motion in your production career so that you can connect with and market to more artists. This is based on a question that the homie Svet, who is a channel member, asked. Usually I won't put these videos out to the whole channel, but I thought this would be something interesting for you guys today. If you do like it and you want to see more of these types of videos, more of the stuff that's for the subsect of members, let me know. I have no problem dropping one of these workshops for the whole channel every once in a while if you guys end up fucking with it. So without too much more talking, I do want to get into this. I want no form of payment for this information. If you could just do me a solid and go to the first link in the description below and like my Spotify playlist, it would mean a lot, because one of the main reasons I'm building it is so that the Dope fam has somewhere to put their music, get streams, and build a followership. We're trying to build motion, baby, but let's get into it. Shout out Svet for asking this amazing question. If I haven't put it up on the screen already, check it out. Pause the screen. That's what formulated the topic here. So the first thing we're going to talk about is that even though he mentioned in his question that, and if you wonder, I wrote down a couple of notes here so that I don't get too off topic, and then I can make sure I hit on every point that I want to give you guys. But again, the first point is that you want to actually market to producers, because that's how you're going to create some motion. It's how you're going to create your motion. Now, there's a little asterisk at the end of that, because he did say that you don't want to market to producers in the first place. That's kind of something he mentioned in his question. He's more so interested in marketing to artists. The reason I would say to market to producers is because you want to, in general, build a following doing something that you really like doing. And I'm making the assumption that you at least like making beats a little bit. So that's why I would say market to producers so that you can build a good followership. You need some kind of followership, right? It could be about anything, as long as you're still also doing music, because you have to connect with these artists on some level that you can relate to them with. So if you're a producer, it would be like beats or engineering or something like that. If you're a photographer, photography. If you do graphic design, it's the illustrations, cover arts, and stuff like that. You do need some kind of like technical point where you can connect with them. But in terms of building followership, you just want to have like followership. It could even just be like you have motion already, you have clout, maybe you're just like a naturally popular person, you've got like a halo effect going. Whatever it is, you want to leverage that to create that followership, because that's what's gonna like initiate that little bit of motion. You don't necessarily need that, but there are so few people that do anything like very successfully in this creative sphere without doing at least a little bit of that. And it's just going to be so much easier for you if you can do that, because it just makes everything else easier. And I think you'll see that as you go along. So if you could just find something on the internet to do, if it's not going to be just straight up music production where, you know, you drop cookups, tutorials about things you're learning, which is what my channel has always been about. It's literally just videos about shit I'm actually learning. It doesn't have to be that. That's also why I do fitness content. Like a lot of the stuff I do on the internet is literally just my life, but then the internet is kind of like my journal. That's pretty much the point I'm trying to make with this. Create some kind of like followership and a little bit of motion with the internet. On top of just that being a good thing, it'll also kind of just give you experience in rubbing hands with people in general, learning how to communicate a little bit better. I would assume we are a subsect of introverts in general, but the ability to just engage with people, have some kind of camaraderie with a group of people that look up to you for some kind of value is going to be good. They don't even necessarily have to look up to you. You could just be an integral part of a group. Again, as long as you have some kind of connection, some kind of followership, build a little bit of motion. You don't want to be an island if you can prevent that, right? You want to be someone who's maybe just creating value and you've got a followership, or you're just an integral part of a group. So step number 2, it's really brief. I'm not even going to beat the dead horse here, because look what channel you're on. If you struggle with this, just go watch like 2 videos on this channel, bro. You'll probably be good after that. But you need good beats. Trash beats are not valuable to artists, right? So the one thing that would piss them off probably is if you pull up and you're like, I want to work, we've got to work. And like the first 3 things they hear from you are like, you know that meme when LeBron's like jamming to the shitty beats? Like if they hear some shit like that and you're like the nigga who's been trying to like initiate this shit, or you've been like, you know, putting it out there like you've got motion and shit, and like the first thing they hear is like shitty beats, then that's going to fuck up everything else pretty much. And so we can just go into step number 3, and I'll explain very clearly why that's going to fuck this up. And step number 3, or tip number 3, is rapport building and then consistency more generally. So let me just plug in my laptop here because the screen keeps timing out. I want to make sure the recording doesn't stop right in the middle and I have to start over, because that'd be pretty annoying. But rapport building and consistency. So rapport basically just means building some kind of meaningful relationship with people where there is a relatively equal and mutual exchange of value. You pretty much do want it to be mutual, for sure. Mutual, definitely. That's non-negotiable. And then you do want it to be as equal as possible. Honestly, if you can give more than you're getting, go the extra mile. I wouldn't say give more than you get because you want to have boundaries in life. You don't want to do more, like so much more than other people are doing. Like, right, like you don't want to give an artist like just a shit ton of free beats and they won't even do anything for you. They're like using the beats, they won't even cut you a percentage, credit you. You don't want to be in an abusive relationship, right? Get out of those when you can. But at the same time, you want to at least make sure they're getting back whatever they're giving, even if it's just a little bit of time to read your message, a little bit of time to check out your beats. Make sure that you're doing something really, really valuable for them. Check their stuff out, comment on their social media post, share their stuff. Genuinely just take an interest in it. Every once in a while, just pop in and ask them how they're feeling. So that gets into the whole point of like why you want to build an email list specifically for whatever you're trying to do on the internet or for your business in general, some kind of mailing list, right? It could be direct mail, email marketing, SMS, social media groups. Like there's like Instagram groups and stuff now. It's really, really cool stuff. But the reason all of those things are, the reason that concept is ubiquitous, no matter where you go, direct mail, broadcast channels in Instagram, Discord, Telegram, all of them, Stack. Like the reason that's important is because you use that to remain in consistent communication with people. So I won't get too much more into that. If you want to learn about email marketing, I've got some workshops for members. But if you don't want to become a member, tight on cash, just don't want to spend money, I also just have a 100% free course linked down below. If it's not linked down below, if you go to dopecontentonly.net and you literally on the homepage just scroll down to free products, it'll be the course right there. You can just go check it out. And again, if you really just want to sit down and learn the information, it'll take you like maybe a month or two to really like learn the information in terms of like marketing and building rapport over the internet or using some direct mail if you were really going to fucking do something like that. But I'm thinking more of like email, SMS, stuff like that, where you don't sound spammy, but you're clearly like communicating with people. Like, you know, when you send an email, whether it's mass email marketing or emailing out beats or just hitting someone up to ask, or hitting up your entire list to ask them what they need or like how they're doing, or if they've got any new projects they need help with. You want to make it seem, not make it seem, you want to genuinely be interested, and like anything takes practice. So that's why I say first you'll have to learn it for like 1 or 2 months, and then you'll probably have to take another 2-3 months to really like practice it and really get good. Cause at first it'll be a little clunky. You'll feel spammy. You might come off spammy. You might be annoying, blah, blah, blah. But then after that, you become very, very comfortable with it. So I'd say within half a year, you could get very, very good at those like mass marketing concepts. But on a much more micro level, it truly is just communicating consistently with these people. You want to get to know your artists so that you know what they need from you, right? It'd be a very, very annoying thing for you to consistently be sending hard ass trap beats to an R&B artist who wants like very minimal, light, melodic production. That you really want to know your audience. And then the other point of this is that you want to hit them up consistently, frequently, providing value. You don't ever want to hit them up for no reason, because that's very, very annoying. Even on like when I email artists, it's almost always just stuff about Spotify or YouTube. Like I'll be like, here's this thing that I learned about YouTube that will help you not have to spend so much money on ads, or like, here's a playlist I'm working on that has a bunch of beats from producers that aren't just me. They're just really hard producers. So check it out. It doesn't have anything to do with me. If you like my beats, if one of my beats is on there that you like, check it out. Ask me the price, or you can just go to my store and find it. It's not that difficult. But the point is, I'm just putting you in touch with a lot of good beats. This playlist has over 1,000 followers. So like, you know, it's good beats. It's not trash that I'm putting together just to annoy you. Again, just information about stuff that they can do to further their career, resources that they can use to further their career, building that connection with them that communicates the idea that I genuinely care. Because that, when that idea is effectively communicated, it creates trust. And trust is what creates consumers of your products. And a consumer can be someone who spends money, someone who just streams your music, which is which is interesting because there's still a lot of money involved in you getting to stream something in the first place. You need a phone, you need a computer, you need internet connection, you need like electricity and shit like that. But it's a very interesting way that like a stream is kind of like a conversion of attention into literal money. So time is money, attention is money. That's like a very, very serious thing. And like building off of that concept before we move on to this next point is that, remember that last part is that attention is money and time is money. So you never want to waste people's time when you're communicating with them to build this rapport, right? Whether it's communicating directly one-on-one with someone like an artist that you're working with, or an artist that you want to work with, maybe you're reaching out to them for the first time, or it's your list that you're building or that you've built over time. So now you've got a little bit more of like a consistent communication with them. You never want to waste their time. That's one of the most important things in general, is that of course you want to chop it up with people. You want to build meaningful connections. You want to feel like you're a part of something bigger, feel like you're a part of a community. But at the end of the day, if you're looking at it from a business perspective and you're looking at it like you want to market to artists or market to people in general or provide value so that you get something in return, which is the entire system of commerce. Let's be real. We want money. We want things. We need to barter. We're fucking humans. Let's stop pretending. You're going to want to make sure you're being more valuable than not valuable. Just try to make sure that all your messages, all your communications with artists are something valuable. Number 4 is goodwill. So goodwill just basically means showing like an act of faith that again instills the idea that you genuinely care. So I do this in 2 pretty simple ways. And I'll just get this one out of the way because this is the one that a lot of people don't like. And it's just giving freebies. I mean, like, you're gonna, I've never given someone a free beat and then been like, I really fucking wish I didn't give them the free beat. Like that's never happened. Sometimes I'll be like, I guess I could have got an extra $20 or $30 on the lease sale, like if I really tried. But a lot of the time it's just an act, it's genuinely just an act of goodwill. But that has to be associated with some kind of like cognition, right? Like you don't just want to be giving out free beats. That's not necessarily what anyone's ever suggesting, right? You want to, and this ties into rapport very nicely. Out of the entire, and I do this all the time, for example. So I have like a list of artists and I'll just pay attention, right? I'm genuinely tapped in with these people. I'm communicating. And over time, I'll just pay attention and I'll be like, okay, this guy's like moving. Like if he had beats or he didn't like need to spend the extra $50, $100 to clear the beat, get the max usage for streams or whatever, he probably could put that to videos or he could probably put that to marketing or playlisting or something else fucking fits for the music video, whatever it is. Just like kind of making that assessment and then being like, okay, this might be a good place to apply my goodwill. Let me just give them a free beat. And you're going to get the 50-50 anyway. So it's like, you don't really have to make it a big deal in terms of like, am I going to get paid? Am I going to get anything back? But at the end of the day, you do just want it to be an act of goodwill if you're going to give someone a free beat, because that just comes back to you. And it also shows people, again, it communicates that idea that you genuinely genuinely care. But another way that I'll execute this is by just doing deals. So the other side of it is that I have people who are just very frequent shoppers. Like for example, I have people that buy, like I have like a set of beats that are not on my store that people still hear sometimes. And sometimes people ask me for those beats and they'll be like, I need to buy this one. How much is it? So it's pretty consistent that if you want a wave, it's 50. If you want the stems, it's 100, right? That's usually what I tell people. But when I have someone that's consistently wanting stems, and this happened recently, there was someone who was wanting stems a lot. He was buying a lot of stems. It was 100 every time. So after a while, I was just like, okay. And he just kept buying beats. So I was like, okay, bro, from now on, there was no reason I did this. He didn't do anything for me. I wasn't going to get anything out of it. I was just like, bro, he's spending so much money on beats. He could literally take half this money and do something else with it, even if it's just buying himself a cheeseburger, right? I was like, bro, from now on, if you want to track out, it's just 50. Just don't tell anybody. Just don't tell anybody. That's what I was like. Don't go tell your artist homies he's doing it for 50, because that would get annoying for me. People will be like, well, you told him. No, we're not doing that. But like, that's an act of goodwill. He's trying to create motion. Why don't I just be on his side? Now you can do the whole other side of it, like free type beats and just give out free stuff in general. That's another manifestation of that free will. People who are actively looking for beats to use and go through the correct route of downloading them from your website are probably the types of people that you want to be connecting with either way. So whether it's giving deals, doing freebies, some kind of move that you make where you are, again, communicating that you genuinely care. So number 4, goodwill is like a very, very important one. And number 5 is cast a bigger shadow than what you are. So this is not to encourage deception, quite the opposite, actually. I guess it's more of a Jedi mind trick. So when I say this, what I'm trying to communicate is that you really want to, this culminates all the points that we've talked about so far. And I really, really like this. And this is what I kind of was referencing earlier at the beginning of this video, is that what you do when you're casting a bigger shadow is you want to leverage all 4 of these things that we've talked about so far. So with number 1, you're creating motion and building a following. Number 2, you've got good beats. Number 3, you're building rapport consistently, and you're building new rapport consistently, but then like nurturing that old rapport that you have. And then number 4 is just general goodwill, because that's just a good business practice. Number 5 is where you leverage all of those things. You can leverage a following, and it doesn't have to be like a super, like, it doesn't have to even be like a medium, like micro influencers is like 1,000 people or 10,000 people. It doesn't have to be anything like that. Like there's people with like 200, 300, 500 subscribers or followers who have serious fucking motion, because those followers are like they've stayed tapped in with them forever, right? So like there's other ways to do it instead of just like blowing yourself up to like this big like social media profile. It doesn't have to be that, but you want to be active with the actual concept of building a following on the internet or through some kinds of means, right? So leveraging that allows you to cast a big shadow. It allows you to make yourself seem like you have more motion than what you truly have. But it's not even that. Again, it's not an act of deception. It is really just you're using that thing. It's the act of leverage. When I say cast the shadow, I'm saying to take the action of leverage. You have followership, now leverage it. Present to your followership in a way that encourages artists to want to work with you more, right? So if they see you have followership, like I get a few of these a week, right? They'll just be like, okay, 16K on Instagram, 7 or 8K on TikTok, fucking like 100K on YouTube. And then I have like a really big email list that I put the number on my website, so people will ask me about that too. It'll be some kind of PR guy, some kind of like indie label guy, or some artist. I usually get some combination of many of those a week, 5 to 10 people that are literally just like hitting me up because I have a followership. They'll be like, I saw that you have an email list. Do you want to do blah, blah, blah? I saw you have like a good following. I'm looking to work with producers that are, have motion. They'll literally just say shit like that. Instead of like going to work with the guy who probably makes better beats than me, they're coming to me. And I'm not saying that to brag. I'm saying that to say that the only reason they are is because of like followership, right? And you don't have to be a big account. Again, people can find you just because you're active on the platforms and then be like, oh, like your shit is hard. And like people clearly fuck with it, or you're doing something like that is clearly meaningful. I want to fuck with this. That's the thing that people want to fuck with. People just assume if you have followers, you're doing something meaningful, but that's not always the case. And that's not the only way to present the fact that you're doing something meaningful. Like a lot of followers, like the actual number of followers doesn't have to be the thing that communicates that you're doing shit. You could actually just present the things you're doing, right? Which I do also do, but some people are vain and they care less about that. There's also people who just genuinely hit me up about the work, but there's a lot of people who just, they see the optics and they're like, oh, this is someone I want to work with. And I tend not to work with those people, but anyway. Then you can leverage your good beats. That's the key right there. Like that was the thing I touched on the least, because again, this entire channel will basically show you if you make bad beats, but you fuck with this like little space we have here, that's a choice. I'm not going to lie to you. That's a choice. Like you can fix that. It's not just me either. There's a lot of good tutorials. I'm watching tutorials every day. Making bad beats is a choice. And like, I'm learning some new shit in life. You can learn anything that you try to learn, bro. Like when I'm learning coding from scratch, and when I'm practicing it, I'm getting better. But if I slack, like it gets hard again, right? Like it gets really, really hard and it kicks my ass when I come back. So pure production is no different. You will hit a critical point at some point where not practicing as much won't hurt you as much. But even me, when I go like a decent amount of time without making beats, you best believe I'm gonna have beat block those first few days trying to come back into it. And I just got to keep banging my head until I get back into it. It happens to me very frequently, actually. So I'm speaking from experience when I say that. Like, it's something, you don't got to be like a nut about it, but like you want to get to the point where like you make good beats. You know what I'm saying? Just touch the DAW every once in a while. Make sure make sure the thing you're going to connect with artists to market to artists is actually good. That's like so important. Like you cannot pull up, you cannot build rapport off of trash beats. You cannot get motion off of trash beats. It's not doable, bro. It's not doable. I didn't say all that at the beginning because I just wanted to get through it. But like, bro, your beats needs to be good. So please go down in the description. At like the bottom, there's going to be like a bunch of brain emojis next to a bunch of YouTube links. There's videos that will fix pretty much any problem you have with your production, from melody making to mixing to drum programming to arrangement, whatever the fuck. And if I don't do your style, go watch someone else's videos, because I promise you there's not a style that has not been covered on YouTube. So soapbox over, make good beats. It's not fucking negotiable, and just make good beats. Like, I'm tired of seeing that shit. I'm tired of that. I'm tired of that. I'm tired of people being confused why they're not making progress. And you listen to their beats and it's like they haven't opened the DAW in a fucking year. Okay? I'm done. Anyways, you can also leverage your consistent rapport, right? And that's pretty straightforward. When you a relationship that you have is a relationship that you can leverage. A relationship that you do not have is a relationship that you cannot leverage, right? So by the very nature of building that rapport, you can leverage those relationships. Here's a couple of ways you could leverage it just off the top of my head. You can literally curate singles or albums with those artists, which is going to make you streaming revenue. So your music is like your beats are basically like stocks. I was explaining this to my little cousin yesterday. He's a producer and he's fucking cold. I'll put you guys on him pretty soon. We'll do like some videos or something. But anyway, your beats are like a stock. So there's many ways to create monetization off of them. And then the way they grow is dependent on the steady growth of the infrastructure that is your music production brand. That was like a wonky way of saying as you grow, your stock price grows, and the stock price is like your beats or your beat price or whatever. But basically, that's one way that you could leverage your, consistent rapport. You could, if you have a lot of rapport, you will naturally have like more eyes on whatever you're doing in general. So that's just like a more tangible way to leverage that rapport. And that goes back into building followership, just in general, creating more motion, rubbing more hands, getting in contact with more people in general, and them understanding your value is going to create more leverage for you on the back end and in the long run. So that's just really, really, really important. And that's how you can cast a bigger shadow. Again, you seem really, really small as a single person, as one human being, as one entity. You are like not that powerful. But if you start connecting with people, tapping in with people, leveraging connections, leveraging relationships, cashing in on those favors, you know what I'm saying? Like, don't be a dick, but you know what I'm saying? Let people know. It's like, you know what I'm saying? I gave you that free beat. I seen that you did 5K streams on Spotify. That's crazy. You know what I'm saying? I got a couple of beats. I'm trying to do an EP. Me and you, we split it 50-50. Let's do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, leverage that shit. Don't just be the person being used, right? Like, that's a thing that producers are really comfortable with. And I think like producers got to do more of like just speaking up and being like, I want this. Like, and this is what we're gonna do. Especially if you're putting in that work, putting in that motion. Like you have, there's a space in relationships to ask for what you want, and that's the whole point with rapport. So really, really get into understanding rapport. I think a really good book is the Dale Carnegie book, like How to Win Friends and Influence People or whatever the fuck. You don't have to like read the whole book, or even, I think the audio book is fine enough. You just want to understand the concepts. It's like basic human communication. It's a more adult presentation of the fucking basic shit we learned in kindergarten. Be nice to people. Don't say mean things if you don't have to. Share and like do good things. That's basically what it is. Dale Carnegie does a better job of explaining it than I will. And then lastly, goodwill. I mean, come on. If you have good karma, that's one of the best things you can leverage in life, is just goodwill. So you want to definitely build that goodwill if you can. I hope this was very, very valuable for you guys. I think this was a fun Let's Talk daily video. If you have any questions, ask below. I think if it's very, very substantial and you'll get something out of it, I'll probably just respond in a short, because I could probably say more in 15 seconds and you'll get more out of the tone of hearing what I'm saying in real time than just like me typing out some text. That's also easier for me. And I think that's more fun for everybody, because there will be more people that will be able to watch that didn't even watch this video, who will just get that question answered without having to come to this video. So let's participate together. If you got this far in this video, I don't even drop a like if you want to, all that other shit. That's fine for the algorithm, whatever. But I don't actually care about that, especially since you already watched the whole video, right? Ask a question, ask a really good question that I could respond to with a short, so that you can help someone else who is in your shoes, or help another new producer learn how to traverse this topic that we have discussed today. So thank you so much for watching. My name is Chu, and I like to make beats. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.